Yo, what's going on, ladies and gents? My name is Arbuckle. Welcome back to another video. Today we are once again back on Call of Duty Warzone, and I wanted to share with you guys the top 3 class setups for the FAL Assault Rifle. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys a rushing class, a very defensive class, and then an overall class for multiple play styles. So hopefully you guys will be able to find one class out of the 3 here that you'll be able to dominate with. What you're watching right now and what you're going to see throughout the video is me demonstrating what each of these classes play like in a game of multiplayer against veteran bots. So keep in mind, in Warzone it will take a little bit longer to take somebody down, but I just wanted to give you guys a quick idea of what these weapons play like and what they look like. So hopefully you guys will be able to use that to figure out which one you want to go after. But if you guys take a look at the stats for the rushing FAL class setup, you guys will see that we're going to get a massive boost to mobility, which is obviously going to be the key here with a rushing setup. We're getting a very small boost to accuracy as well. We lose a small amount of range and control, which won't be a big deal because obviously we are going to be playing super aggressive with this thing. So let's jump into the attachments. So if you guys take a look at the attachments, we're not going to be using a muzzle. Generally, as most of you guys know, we run that monolithic suppressor, but because this is a very aggressive setup, we want to save that attachment for something else. The barrel that we're going to be using is the 13-inch OSW Para. So this is going to give us aim down sight speed as well as movement speed and a really nice boost to our mobility. So again, that 13-inch OSW Para barrel. We're not going to be using a laser, and we're also not going to be using an optic. So the stock that we're going to be using is the no stock. So this is going to give us a massive boost of that movement speed as well as more ADS speed. We lose a little bit of recoil control and we lose aiming stability. Keep in mind, guys, the stats generally lie to you here in Modern Warfare if you guys haven't figured that out by now. Aiming stability is completely useless on an assault rifle because we don't really have idle sway. So even though it shows that we're losing accuracy, range, and control, we're really not losing that much. So don't really pay attention to the stats there, but the no stock is the stock that we're rocking with. The underbarrel that we're going to be using is the Merc foregrip. So this is a really good attachment to use for pretty much any weapon that you're playing aggressive with. You're going to get hip fire accuracy here, which will be nice if you're running around a corner or through a doorway. You can pretty much just start spraying this thing and be pretty accurate. You're also getting recoil control as a pro as well. So you're getting a really nice boost to that accuracy as well as a small boost to range and control here. So again, the Merc foregrip underbarrel. The ammunition that we're going to be running is the 30-round mag. So I always recommend in Warzone running the highest round mag that you possibly can, especially with this FAL. The 30-round mag is always a great way to go. You lose a little bit of mobility and control here, but it's definitely worth having on. So again, that 30-round mag ammunition. And last but not least, the rear grip that we're going to be running is stippled grip tape. So essentially this is a free attachment for this FAL. You guys will see that we get more ADS speed as well as sprint to fire speed, which is really, really nice to have since we are playing aggressive. The only con here is aiming stability, which again doesn't really factor in with an FAL. So we're not really losing any control. But I'll give you guys one last look at the stats and attachments that come with this specific rushing FAL class setup. The next class that we're going to jump into is the very defensive class for the FAL. So if you guys take a look at the stats that come with this specific class setup, you guys will see the main focus here is obviously going to be that accuracy and range. We lose a decent amount of mobility, which again won't matter because this is a defensive class, and we get a small boost to control as well, which is always nice to have. So a really good defensive class setup for those of you that like to camp and sit in buildings and play super, super defensive. So if you guys take a look at the attachments, the muzzle that we're going to be using is the monolithic suppressor, giving us sound suppression as well as damage range, and a nice boost to accuracy and range here. As most you guys know, in Warzone, having that monolithic suppressor is key for almost every setup. So the monolithic suppressor muzzle. The barrel that we're going to be using is the XRK Marksman, the best barrel when it comes to range. You guys will see that we're getting a nice boost to accuracy, range, and control here. The ultralight really just focuses on mobility, so out of all 3 of these barrels, if you're going for distance, the XRK Marksman is definitely the best way to go. We're not going to be using a laser. The optic that we're going to be using is the Cronin LP945 Mini Reflex. Now, this is really personal preference. I know a lot of players like different types of optics in Warzone or in Modern Warfare in general. For me personally, I really like the Mini Reflexes, so that's what I'm sticking with here. But for the very defensive class setup, I highly recommend that you do put an optic on just so you can do really well from distance, since obviously that's what we're going to be playing for. But again, the Cronin LP945 is just what I decided to use. If you like one other optic specifically, then run that you're more comfortable with. But again, for me, the Mini Reflex is the way to go. We're not going to be using a stock. The underbarrel that we're using is the Commando foregrip. So I love the Commando foregrip here because we're not losing ADS speed like we do with a lot of the other underbarrels here. We're only losing a little bit of movement speed, but we do get recoil stabilization as our pro. Keep in mind that aiming stability pro really doesn't matter, so we're essentially just getting a recoil stabilization. So again, the Commando foregrip underbarrel. And last but not least, the ammunition that we're going to be running is once again that 30 round mag. Very, very important attachment to use here. But I'll give you guys one last look at all the stats and attachments that come with this specific, very defensive FAL class setup. The next class that we're going to jump into, and the final class, is the overall FAL class setup, which is what I highly recommend using for those of you that not only play defensive but that like to rush around and just like to try to get as many wins as possible. This is what I think is probably the best FAL that you can go with. So if you guys take a look at the stats that come with this specific class setup, you guys will see that again we're getting that massive boost to accuracy and range. We're still getting a boost to control, not quite as much as that defensive class setup, just a very small amount, and we still end up losing a decent amount of mobility here, which again won't be that big of a deal in Warzone, but I think you guys will really like this setup. So if you guys take a look at the attachments, the muzzle that we're going to be using is once again that monolithic suppressor, giving us that sound suppression and damage range and a nice boost to accuracy and range. So again, that monolithic suppressor muzzle. The barrel that we're using again is the XRK Marksman. Again, this is really the only option when it comes to the FAL unless you are playing super aggressive. So the XRK Marksman, definitely the best barrel to rock. We're not going to be using a laser. We're also not going to be using an optic. We're also not going to be using a stock. Now, the underbarrel that we're rocking with is once again that commando foregrip, going for that recoil stabilization. Again, you lose a little bit of movement speed here, but a nice little boost to accuracy, range, and control. So again, the commando foregrip underbarrel. The ammunition that we're running is again that 30 round mag. You should always run the highest round mag possible here in Warzone, unless obviously it's like 120 round mags. It's going to slow you significantly. With the FAL, the 30 round mag is perfect, so that's what we're using as ammunition. And last but not least, the rear grip that we're going to be running is rubberized grip tape. So essentially, this is another free attachment that's going to give you recoil control as your pro, and you essentially lose nothing, giving you a really nice boost to accuracy. I always tell people that watch my videos that this rubberized grip tape makes a huge difference when it comes to your aim from distance. If you guys, if you don't run the rubberized grip tape and then you run it, you guys will notice a huge difference. It makes all the difference in the world, and it's so much better than some of the other attachments that you can run. So the rubberized grip tape, definitely the best way to go here. But I'll give you guys one last look at all the stats and attachments that come with the overall FAL class setup for here in Warzone. If you guys have any questions or anything else to add about any of the class setups that I share with you in this video, please make sure to leave a comment down below, and I'll be sure and try to help some of you guys out. But I really hope you guys did enjoy this video. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see all you guys in the next video.